welcome back to my channel. So today I want to share with you guys all about my vlogging cameras. So I've been on this channel for, I want to say, 4 to 5 years, and during this period of time my camera equipment has definitely upgraded, and right now I currently have 3 different cameras for this channel. So in today's video I just want to share with you guys what the 3 cameras are, what I like about them, what I dislike about them, and why the hell I have 3 different cameras for this channel. Okay, so before I start to introduce the cameras to you guys, I just want to put out a disclaimer that I'm not a professional in photography, videography, I'm not an expert in cameras, I am just a regular consumer, and that's it. So I'm going to start with my main camera, which is my DSLR, which is what I'm using to film at the moment. This is the camera that I use the most often. So this is the Canon EOS 750D, and I'm currently using it with the EF-S 10 to 18mm lens. So this camera initially came with this lens, which is the kit lens, and this is the EF-S 18 to 15mm lens. So the current lens I'm using is 10 to 18, so the most zoom in on this lens is the least zoom in on this lens. So the reason why I got this lens is because it has a wider angle and it's better for vlogging, and if you watch my Korea vlogs, I basically use this setup, which is my DSLR with this lens, to vlog. So it's very handy because I can just hold it and it'll be able to capture like my surroundings as well as my entire face. If I were to use this lens to vlog myself, it would definitely cut off the top part of my head, which is what I do not like. I like to show my entire head, and the reason why I've been using this to film my sit-down vlogs is also because I like the fact that I can put it closer to me so I can see the viewfinder better because my eyesight isn't perfect. So right now it is a little bit zoomed in, so this is the most zoom out for this lens, so you can see it's very wide angle, but it doesn't make me look weird. It doesn't like distort my face or anything, so that is why I really like this lens. And this is the most zoom in. So if I were to use this lens and zoom it out the least, it will look like this. So there are still times where I like to use this lens, and it is when I am filming makeup videos when I need to zoom into my eyes, because if I use this I will need to sit really close to the lens for it to zoom into my eyes, and this one focuses a lot better when it is zoomed in so closely, and I also like using this when I'm taking my blog photos. So what I like most about this camera is the quality. Out of all 3 cameras, this is the quality that I like the most, which is why even though it is very heavy, I don't mind bringing this out every time I want to vlog, which is why when I travel I still bring my DSLR around with me to vlog because I love the quality. It's very sharp, but at the same time it's also quite soft, so it's not sharp to the point where it can focus on your imperfections like your pores and your pimples and your scars whatsoever. It's very soft, which is why I like, but at the same time it's also clear. You know what I mean? Overall, I just really like the quality of the videos that comes out of this camera. So this is definitely my favorite camera when it comes to quality. So what I dislike about this camera is obviously the bulkiness of it and the weight. It's very heavy and it's very bulky. The lens is huge, and like every time I go out I would just need to take extra care of it. I have to hold on to the lens. I have to just take care of it. Moving on to my next camera, I will be talking about the Canon G7X Mark II. So I will be switching from this to this. So now I'm vlogging on my Canon G7X Mark II, and I must say that I am very not used to filming on this camera. The reason why I got this camera was because when I got this DSLR, I was using the kit lens, and the kit lens is not very wide angle, so it's not very great for vlogging. So I wanted a camera that is better for vlogging, and as you guys may or may not know, the Canon G7X is a really popular camera for vlogging, and on YouTube a lot of big YouTubers are using this camera to vlog. I decided to get it, and you can definitely see an increase in vlogs when I first got this camera because I was just so excited to vlog. But there are a couple of things that I don't really like about this camera. First of all is the color. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I feel like the color from this camera is a lot better than this one. This looks really white and just off. And this one, the quality is great. It's very sharp, so I don't really like it because I feel like it focuses too much on my imperfections that it makes me feel very self-conscious. But there are also things that I like about this camera. First of all, it's definitely the size and the weight of it. It's very small, it's very handy, it's very light. And another thing is the zoom lens. This one can zoom in a lot, which is great. When I went to Korea, I brought this camera along with me as well, and I seldom use it, but the day I used it the most was when I went to Everland, because I can use this to zoom in on the animals at the zoo, and I used this to film the entire fireworks because we were actually quite far from the fireworks, but this one really helped to zoom in a lot compared to this one with this lens. So right now I'm still using this camera pretty often. I used it mostly for close-up shots. For example, I used it in my Christmas baking video when I took the close-up shots of myself decorating, and I also used this camera in my Christmas pamper myself routine, where I took close-ups of the products that I'm using, and I also used this camera when I was in the bath. So yeah, this camera is great for taking close-up shots and zoom in shots. I feel like you can definitely see this camera in those videos where I mentioned. I will try and put some screenshots, and you can see this camera like just sitting at the side filming the close-up shots. Moving on to my next camera, I'm going to talk about the Canon Legria Mini X, which is my latest addition. So I'm going to switch over from this to this. So right now, I'm obviously using the Canon Legria Mini X, also known as the Canon Vixia Mini X. This is a really popular vlogging camera for Korean vloggers. So this is a camera I've been wanting for a really long time, and it is a really expensive purchase because Canon has actually discontinued the entire like Legria range. So because of that, a lot of people has increased their selling price because the demand is really high, and you can hardly find any new Canon Legria Mini X in the market at the moment, so a lot of them are used. I've tried to purchase this camera many times, but because of the price, I just didn't go ahead and buy it. I've tried to buy it from a lot of different sources, and a lot of them were above $1,000. So I got this camera in December last year, and I got this as my birthday and Christmas present, and it's still very expensive, but I decided to go ahead with it because it's the cheapest one that I found, and also because I've earned some money from a couple of sponsored videos, so I thought I would treat myself and get myself a new camera. So the reason why I got this, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but at the end of last year, I want to say since October, I've been very into weekend vlogging, and I've been really enjoying it because I feel like those vlogs are able to capture more of my daily life rather than just me sitting down here talking to you guys. So a lot of those vlogs, especially the ones at the end of December, were taken with my DSLR, which can be very extra looking, especially when you're in public. I'm not very comfortable vlogging in public, so with the DSLR it just makes things a lot worse. There are some videos where I used the G7X, but I feel like it was really inconvenient as well because of how not wide angle this is. For example, every time I try and use this camera, it will just cut off like the top part of my head, which is something that I don't like. And if I put it too close to me, you can't even see my face. So there's actually this clip of myself editing in Starbucks that I use this camera, and you can see my face, but in reality this camera was actually put right at the end of the next table. So that is how far this camera has to be in order to capture my face, which for me I feel like is very inconvenient, and again it's quite embarrassing. So I just decided to get this camera to continue weekend vlogging, and hopefully with this new camera I will keep up with it. Another good thing about this camera is the audio. I have tested this out and I really like the audio of it. I've actually filmed a clip of me and my sister singing with this camera. And I'm not sure if by the time this video is up, that video will be up, but I really like the audio of it, and it doesn't sound scratchy or anything, so that's what I like about this camera. To be honest, when I first got this camera, I wasn't really sure about it because first of all, it's very expensive, second, it's not new, and third, it's a really old model. So a lot of things on this camera looks really old. For example, the battery, the charger, the button buttons look old, and basically it just looks like an old camera. So I wasn't really sure if the money I've paid for this camera was worth it, but something made me regain my confidence about this camera, and that is I've been watching a lot of like variety shows recently, and for some reason I have been spotting this camera like everywhere. Basically, I saw Blackpink use this camera in their latest variety show. I saw Red Velvet using this camera in their Level Up project. I saw Wacky Macky use this camera, and there's also this show or series or program on YouTube called the music video commentary, whereby idol groups will sit in and they will watch their own music video and they will comment on it. And on that program, they were also using this camera. So I think that regained my confidence about this camera because of the fact that this camera has been discontinued, but the producers still feel like this camera is good enough to be in their program. I feel like that just boosts my confidence level about this camera, because to be honest, when I first tried this out, I wasn't really sure about the fisheye look, but I feel like the more I film with it, the more comfortable I'm getting used to it. So currently there is not much that I dislike about this camera. I actually think this camera is great. It films in HD, it has great audio, it has a great wide angle lens, and it also has a lot of functions that my other cameras have that I love. So what I like about all three cameras is that they have a flip screen, so you can see yourself when you're filming. Not necessarily stare at yourself when you're filming, but at least you can check your hair once in a while and you can see your background and you can see if it's focused or not. So that's what I like about all three cameras. And the second thing is that you can adjust the exposure on all three cameras, and that is a function that I use the most and probably the only function that I used. Even though I have a DSLR, I don't really mess around with the functions, and so yeah, the only function that I use is like self-timer and the exposure setting. That's pretty much it. So basically the exposure setting is how bright you want your video to be, and I use this a lot because I find it really helpful when I'm filming in either a really dark place or a really bright place. So depending on that, I can just adjust how bright I want my videos to be, and I feel like that really helps to control the quality of the video. The very last thing that I like about all three cameras is that they have built-in Wi-Fi, and this is super important to me because I use it so much. So basically what this does is that you can connect your camera directly to your phone, so you can transfer whatever photos, whatever video that you have taken directly to your phone. And I use this so often, especially when I'm outside, when I travel, basically all the time, where I want to transfer the photos that I've taken to my phone. For example, when I was in Korea, I uploaded a lot of photos on my Instagram, and all the photos were taken using my DSLR, but I didn't have to use a computer to transfer it to my computer and then transfer it to my phone. I can just directly transfer it over, and it's really quick and easy. I also really like the fact that all my cameras are from Canon, so I only need to download one app to connect to all my cameras, and this is not an ad. I don't know why all my cameras are from Canon. It's honestly a coincidence. I swear. I was considering GoPros, I was considering the sports camera from Olympus, but for some reasons I just end up buying all the Canon cameras. So those are all my vlogging cameras. I hope you find this video somewhat helpful or interesting. If you have any other questions on my camera and filming equipment, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below and I will answer them. So with that said, we have come to the end of this video, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye!